Howdy YouTube. Well, continuing on with more tobacco reviews, pipe tobacco reviews for 2012. Today's review will be this blend from GL Pease, Union Square. I'll read the tin description to you. A blended sliced cake of high-grade flue-cured leaf, from beautiful sweet brights to deep earthy reds, without the added sugars and flavorings common to many Virginia flakes. It is rich on the palate, evolving in layers with the clean, natural sweetness of pure tobaccos. It offers a pleasant room note and a delightful finish. For those seeking the pure Virginia experience, we proudly present Union Square. Well, Greg Pease is pretty good with the hyperbole on his tin description. We'll see. The tin date on the bottom of the tin indicates this tin was filled and sealed in around the middle of 2009, either July or August 2009 is when this tin was filled and sealed. So it's got almost 3 years on it, which I guess that's a pretty good start for aging some straight Virginias, I hope. Yeah, I've only had two. Well, this will be my third GL Pease blend. I've had Westminster, which I like a lot. If you're a fan of Samuel Gwith's Squadron Leader, I think you'll like GL Pease's Westminster. And I've also had Pease's Embarcadero, which is a Virginia Oriental blend, and that's okay. So anyway, this will be my third Pease blend I'm going to try. So let's get the top off and pop it open. Well, it gave a nice little whoosh when I broke the seal. I can smell the tobacco leaf just pouring out of here. The aroma is very strong. Yep. It almost has, it's not quite, but it's similar, which makes sense. I don't know if you've ever smoked McClellan Virginias, but sometimes they're kind of infamous for having a vinegary, ketchupy smell, which is something to do with the process of preparing the Virginia leaf, and this kind of has a similar smell to it as well. If I could get this, there we go. So you know, that's got to be from the processing of Virginia leaves. It gives off that kind of, I don't know what that smell is, but it has that similar type of smell to Virginias. It's not, I don't find it unpleasant. Just smell, oh wow. Just smells like nice, grassy, hay-like tobacco. Once I've actually folded back the little flaps here, that kind of acetic acid, vinegary smell was faded away, and I'm just getting a more wonderful, grassy, hay smell from the tobacco. As you can see, it's flakes tobacco. Well, if I can pull one out for you guys. Yeah, here's a flake. Pull out flakes like that layered in there. You can see it's kind of light colored. Not much dark stuff in there, pretty light. Yellows and some reds and browns, but no really dark leaf in there. Wonderful smell. The moisture is pretty good. It's pretty much perfect moisture. I could rub this out really easily. It's not too, not too wet, so it won't get all kind of sticky and gummy as you try to rub it out, but it's not too dry, so it won't crumble to powder. So it's good moisture level on it. Flakes are pretty thick. Well, not real thick, but I mean sometimes some places, like Samuel Gwith tins, flakes, there's inconsistency in the thickness. Some are really thin, some are real thick, but these are all pretty consistent in thickness. So that's a nice smell. So I'm going to fill a bowl and light it up and let you know what my first impressions are once I put a flame to it. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Well, I'm about halfway through my first bowl of Union Square, and I'm smoking it in my Fern Down Tudor Root Bent Bulldog, or Paneled Bulldog. This is a dedicated Virginia pipe for me. First impressions are really good, very positive. It has a nice natural sweetness to it. It's got Virginia sweetness, but it's kind of, it doesn't taste like the sweetness isn't coming from some kind of like topping or casing. It's like just the natural sweetness in Virginia's. And the flavors in this are, they're pretty I don't want to say complex, but they're not monotone. I get, occasionally I'll get like hints of like citrusy sweetness, like that's similar in Orlick Golden Sliced. And then some puffs I'll get more of an earthy, full type of Virginia flavor to it. You know, almost reminiscent of full Virginia flake. And then sometimes I'll get the a kind of a subtle but pleasant grassy hay-like sweetness will come through. It's all good. This is really good Virginia. I think with even a couple more years of age on it, you know, maybe 5 or more, this stuff would probably be really outstanding. As it is with 3 years on this tin, this first smoke is really pleasant. It's nice. I'm liking it a lot. The room note on this stuff is really good. I like the room note a lot better than I did with Marble Cake, which I reviewed recently. The room note on this is a lot more pleasant to me than the room note on Marble Cake. Of course, the ultimate barometer of pipe tobacco room note is from the wife, and she's not here right now. So yeah, I like Union Square. It's good. Nice, pure, straight Virginia. Good flavors, good aroma, good taste. Seem to be got some depth to it. A little bit of complexity, a little variance in the flavors and aromas. They're all good. Yeah, we'll see how it does as I continue to smoke it. I'd be curious to see if it's as sensitive to being, you know, careful packing in the pipe and, you know, pipe specific as the Marble Cake was. Hopefully it's not that sensitive to being, you know, loosely packed and only really coming through in only 1 or 2 of my pipes. It just, you know, hopefully it does as well in all of my pipes, and I don't have to be so careful to pack it nice and loose. I pack this like I normally pack a rubbed out flake. I didn't, you know, no looser or tighter than I normally do, and it's great. So that's a good sign. All right. Well, if my impressions change and develop and grow over the course of this tin, I'll come back with concluding remarks. So we may see you in a little bit. Well, it's taken me a good 4 months to finish off this tin of GL Pease's Union Square. I'm literally on the last bowl right now. And there's a pretty good reason, at least for me, why it took me so long to finish off this tin. Usually it doesn't take me a good 4 months to do it unless it's something a blend I absolutely hate, and I don't hate this blend. I like it. It's really good quality Virginia tobacco. However, the problem with this blend I have is it requires a lot of hand holding. Put another way, this blend for me is very high maintenance. It's very difficult to get lit. It doesn't stay lit very well at all. And it doesn't matter, you know, how well I've rubbed it out. You know, I've tried rubbing it out really fine. I've tried drying it really well, and it just didn't make any difference. It just was a pain in the butt to get lit. and stay lit. I mean, most tobaccos, every now and then you come across a blend that's a little tricky to get lit, but once you get it lit, it stays lit pretty well. Not this stuff. I mean, this is the second take on this part of the video I made. I did the first take, and about 30 seconds in, the phone rang. So I thought, well, that may be the wife, so let me go check. So literally, I put the pipe down. It was lit well, smoking well. Put the pipe down, walked into the other room, checked the caller ID, saw that it wasn't my wife, and was like, I don't recognize that phone number. I'm not answering. I just let it go over to voicemail or the message machine, and came back in. So maybe 10 seconds, maybe 15. And I picked up the pipe, and it had gone out. Now, I would think, if this was the first time this had happened, I was like, okay, you just didn't pack it well. You packed it too tight, and it couldn't, that's your problem. But it happens every single time. Every bowl I've done with this, if I set this thing down and, walk away for 10, 15 seconds and come back, the pipe's gone out. And it's almost gone out now just talking to you and not puffing on it fairly steadily. So, that's kind of a bummer on that. Another thing I've noticed is it burns unevenly. What I mean by that is, I load the pipe up and I, pack it, and start smoking it, and it kind of burns down the center, and it leaves I don't know how to say it, like a ring of unburned tobacco on the outer portion of the smoking chamber. It's almost analogous to if you were smoking a cigar and you lit it up and you started smoking it, only the center core of the cigar would burn and the outer wrapper would stay unburned. This is kind of how it burns. Strange. I've never seen anything like that. So I'm having to tamp this a whole lot more than I normally would to try to keep it going. That with the difficulty it has in staying lit. It's uneven burning. And the ash on this is really super fine. I mean, it's like talcum powder fine. And what happens when I tamp it, I tamp down the ashes and have to relight it because it's burning unevenly and burning poorly, that super fine ash almost ends up forming a protective cap or barrier to the unburnt tobacco lower down in the smoking chamber. So when I go to try to do another light, I can't get any heat or any flame down to that unburnt tobacco in the lower part of the smoking chamber. So I'm frequently having to dump the ashes out to try to get to some unburnt tobacco. So it's kind of frustrating. Having to go through all those steps, that high maintenance, it's kind of made it such that I'm not really, as good as this tobacco is, it's a nice Virginia. It kind of makes me go, well, I don't feel like dealing with a bowl of that right now. So I put it off. So it's taking me a good 4 months to smoke this. The thing is, this happens in no matter what pipe I smoke it in. I mean, this pipe, even here, my burned down poker, it's a tall, narrow bowl. You would think, that's really going to cause a problem. It only happens in that. No, it happens in that. I've got here's my other fern down, a little bulldog. It's got a nice wide, kind of a more squat, wider open smoking chamber. It happens in that as well. It doesn't really matter the shape of the bowl. I have this problem. So that's kind of frustrating. As good as the tobacco is, I kind of have to put a little bit more care and effort into smoking it. See, I'm having to light it again. So I haven't read anybody else noticing this or having this problem with this blend. So it must just be me. So that's kind of frustrating. It tastes great. It's a good Virginia. It's not the best Virginia I've ever had, but it's good Virginia. It's good leaf. It just, there's times when you just want to be able to load a pipe, do a charring light, tamp, a second light, and just go and not have to think about it or deal with it until it's out. But unfortunately, this blend isn't one of them. For me, it doesn't work out that way. So anyway, those are the negatives of GL Pease Union Square. The middle portion of this video talks about the positives. So I guess it's just me. whatever. Anyway, so there you go. My totally subjective review of GL Pease's Union Square. Take it for what it's worth. Not much. Thanks for watching, guys. Smoking peace.